Hi, I am Essence, a participant of Hudson Guild's Teen Services, and this is HGPC Hudson Guild Podcast.
Hi, my name is Lichelle, and I am the founder of Seven. One of the major reasons why I created Seven is to get more support to families and kids. The meaning of domestic violence is violence committed by someone in the victim's domestic circle. This includes partners and ex-partners, immediate family members, often relatives and family friends. The term domestic violence is used when there is a close relationship between the offender and the victim. So domestic violence doesn't necessarily have to stem from you or your partner. It can also be a close family friend, a friend that you grew up with, somebody that you had an intimate and or a domestic relationship. Domestic violence is not just a woman and a man or a husband and a wife and a family going through it. It can be a friend that's going through domestic violence. 85% of domestic violence victims are women. 1/4 of women worldwide will experience domestic dating violence in their lifetime. Women between the ages of 20 to 24 are at greater risk of becoming victims of domestic violence. Domestic violence is most likely to take place between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. What is one common reason why victims of domestic violence stay? Often, the victims stay for the sake of their children. Needing a father or the batterer may make threats of violence against the children if the victims try to leave. The victims also depend on the batterer and or their domestic partner to provide and take care of them and their children. October is the month of domestic violence. October is considered as the domestic violence month. Everybody, please go and get your purple ribbons and support families, friends, or anybody that you know that's going through domestic violence. I know from my experience of being in a relationship, I never used to ever want to get the police involved. And it's because of my children, and also I never wanted to see my partner arrested at the time. So there's ways that you can get an order of protection to protect yourself and your children without involving the police and or being reported if your children sees any of these violent acts happening to you from your batterer. So one, if it's overwhelming and you need immediate help, you can call 911. The police will come to your house and file a report. You can go to the precinct if you have the confidence. There's Safe Horizon counselors that are there to help you and walk you through the steps of you filling out a report. So I suggest if you do go to the precinct, you can always request to speak to a Safe Horizon counselor, and they would help you with the process of filing the report. Please don't get discouraged when you file the report, because some of the questions that they ask are general questions. So don't take it personal. I know you can be a little bit agitated from some of the questions, especially if you've left your batterer. And the last but not least, and the most important place that you can go is family court. If you have children, if you are pregnant, or if it's a family member that is abusing you, you can go to family court and you can request to receive an order of protection. You can put down some of the incidents. You'll be filling out the paperwork. They'll give you the paperwork, you fill it out. Some of the questions they'll ask you is about some of the incidents that happened to you. The minimum they request is about 3 of them. Once you fill out the paperwork, they then will provide you with an attorney if needed. If you would like to do it yourself and you don't want any legal help, you can go in, speak to the judge. They'll request to have the other party served. If they can't find them or they're unavailable, they will eventually proceed with the case. If you are trying to get your paperwork served, you can, if you have an order of protection already and you have not been able to serve the other party, from my experience, I discovered that there is a major loophole between getting the other party served when you're dealing with family court. So the family court may issue an order of protection, but the police station doesn't necessarily have access to this order of protection in their system, which can be very discouraging. But I always suggest that you screenshot the order of protection or take a picture of it and save it in one of your favorite files. I say favorite so that way when something is happening, it won't take you a long time to search through your pictures to get a copy of that order of protection. Once the order of protection is in the system, then they'll be able to update it. But I don't want you to feel discouraged when you go in and you're filing a report or something happens and they don't have a copy of your order of protection. Me personally, I will be working with the family court and the regular police stations or the criminal justice system to have them be able to start being able to process the order of protections coming out of family court. If your batterer or your partner is not served and you have a copy of an order of protection, you can go to family court, request additional copy for your batterer to be served in whatever borough your batterer lives in. You can go to the sheriff's office and have their copy that needs to be sent to them. You can give it to the sheriff's office as long as you have a copy of your order of protection as well, and they will serve the other party free of charge. There will be no fee. If you are taking your batterer to court for custody or child support and they need to be served, you can take those copies that is supposed to be submitted to the batterer to the sheriff's department, but you need to remember that you have to go to the borough where the batterer lives. You will be able to find the full version of the podcast segments starting in October. So we have safety planning and crisis counseling to help with identifying some of the concerns and issues that the children are having, as well as the parents.
Take 3.
Hi, this is Leisha, the founder of 7, and today we're going to discuss orders of protections. There are different types of order protections. There's a temporary order of protection. A temporary order of protection is issued on the day that you file your order of protection before the respondent is served with the papers, and it is only last until the next time that you go to court. Then there's just a standard general order of protection where you would be, once the case is heard and resolved, you'll get order of protection, and it's a legal document in which a judge orders someone to follow specific conditions of behavior, that is, tell someone things that they must or must not do. Police can make immediate arrests if they have reason to believe these conditions have been violated. So you can get an order. Is there an expiration? There may be an order expiration for the order of protection depending on the severity of the crime or the allegations. So if you go to family court, you can receive up to 5 years for your order protection. You can get an order protection for up to 5 years if you go to family court. Does it cost money to get a restraining order? In New York City, there are no filing fees to file a petition for an order of protection. Are there penalties for violating the restraining order? Yes, you can be sentenced for a misdemeanor or a felony depending on the violation of the order of protection. For example, if it's a full stay away order of protection with no contact physically, verbally, you can't have third party contact, there's no texting, there's no mailing, there's no contact at all, including social media. So if you verbally harass, aggravate, assault, attempt to contact somebody through a third party, meaning through a friend or a family member, or have somebody call them from their phone or text, that's considered as third party. You can be sentenced to up to a year, $1,000 fine. It can be an additional criminal charge of a misdemeanor or felony. Hi, this is Lee Shell, and we're back again with 7, the non-for-profit domestic violence organization. Today we're going to be talking about order protections, different order protections, and how we can file. Temporary order protections are order protections that are temporarily provided to you before the abuser is served. So you'll get an updated order protection, temporary order protection, every time you go to court until the case is resolved. A permanent protective order is an order of protection that is given for a long duration of time. It can be for up to a year to 5 years, depending on what court you go to and the severity of the crime. Different order of protections are provided under different rules and stipulations. For me, my abuser went on social media. He would constantly harass me. He would show up to my house. That's considered as aggravated harassment. So the judge will give an order of protection, a full stay away protection, no contact, no calling, no third party contact. And if the person attempts to contact you through a third party, third party is considered as a friend calling you, a social media, or through a text, something that was created, you can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which can mean up to a year, misdemeanor, felony, $1,000 fine, depending on the severity of the aggravation or the violation of the order of protection. New York State, you can file an order of protection. There's no fee. You can just go to family court. Family court will provide you with an order of protection, but when you file through family court, it's hard for the police to pull up the order of protection, which in my case, that happened to me because it's not a crime. It's not a criminal act. So when you go to family court, you can just go in, file a petition, and the judge, depending on your situation, will allow you to get an order of protection. But because it's not a crime, it's not in the criminal database. So the cops, the district attorney, anybody of law enforcement will not be able to see the order of protection. After you receive an order of protection, the batterer will need to be served. You can go to any local sheriff department in the borough of where the abuser lives, and they will file the order of protection for you for free as long as there is an order of protection. For us as women, some of us, it's hard for us to separate and say, listen, I want to file charges, but we get tired. So sometimes we say, okay, I'm going to get an order of protection just so that he can know that there's some type of limit and he can't do certain things to me. And us as women, where we're in a relationship, it's hard for us to just file charges. One, because we have kids. One, we have an attachment. One, we feel like we're in love. So with family court, you can just go in and it's not considered as a criminal act. So if the person goes and files for a job, the background check won't come up on them. But if they go to criminal court, it will come up because it would show that the person was arrested. When you go to family court, you don't get arrested. It's a petition. I recommend do whatever is comfortable for you. It was hard for me to really separate, to know like this person really didn't care about me, didn't care about how I felt, being physically, mentally, or verbally abusive. For me, the straw that broke the camel's back was him going on social media and like humiliating me, my family, being disrespectful about my kids and my household, things of me growing up in different situations with different family members. It was just a lot, and it became a strain for me and my family as we were like our relationship. It was a lot because they felt like I wasn't doing anything to stop him from hurting myself and hurting them. And words hurt. What bothered me the most is that my kids saw it. And I saw how it hurt them. So I was like, you know what? I just need to go to family court and I just need to get an order of protection. And that's what I did. But it was the process of him being served was really, really hard because he was avoiding being served. There's different forms of domestic violence. There's a person can mentally abuse you mentally by getting into your head, making you feel less than a person, telling you you're not nothing, just like mentally having you overwhelmed by some of the things that they said to the extent of you believing it. That's considered as mental abuse. Verbal abuse is when somebody's just saying things to you verbally, like calling you names and belittling you, making you feel less than a person. Physical abuse is when somebody is physically harming you, like physically hurting you, like beating you, punching you. And sexual abuse is when somebody is forcing you to sexually have sexual relations with them, or to sell your body to appease them. It's a lot of different type of abuses, and it's not just one category for domestic violence. It can also be a family member, a close friend of the family, a friend that you grew up with. That's all considered as a domestic violence, someone that you know. So to get some of the information, you can just go to Google. I suggest that you type in domesticviolence.edu because it gives you more accurate information. We know, everybody knows that Google, you can, all types of stuff comes up on Google, and not everything is 100% right, or it just deters you to different websites. There is women.law. There's newyorklaw.com, and then you can type in domesticviolence.org, and it'll bring up all the information. It'll give you the hotline number to call if you are going through domestic violence. There's different organizations that can help you to flee your abuser.
Take two.
Hi, this is Michelle, the founder and owner of 7